I had just gone upstairs. It hadn't even started raining yet, and then some weird, strange sound happening. I knew it was a tornado. Our roof was literally picked up and flown across the street and crushed 2 cars. It was absolutely terrifying.
This was the aftermath.
It was totally like a bomb went off. I mean, it was devastating.
Smashed glass, shards of metal, and debris covered Rob Garrard's brewery. Just moments earlier, they were celebrating the May-long weekend in 2022. It was the first time Rob's Uxbridge, Ontario business had been open in close to 2 years because of the pandemic. The place was packed.
I think we were just lucky that nobody was seriously hurt.
But the brewery was destroyed. That tornado was part of a derecho, a rare storm system which traveled through Ontario into Quebec.
It killed 12 people, so it was a tragic event. It also caused more than $1 billion of insured losses.
Gregory Kopp has been to several sites like this before. The civil and environmental engineering professor has spent decades trying to make homes more resilient to windstorms.
If it had proper nailing, the roof would have stayed on.
To do that, he and the team from the Northern Tornadoes Project at Western University in London, Ontario, have been studying the carnage left behind.
So we have to understand how buildings perform in them so that we can assess the intensity. But while we're doing that, we can also understand how to design better.
Part of Gregory's work is to figure out how many tornadoes Canada gets. Using radar and satellite imagery, the group discovered the country ranks number 2 for the most tornadoes.
Canada's second in the world. We've found tornadoes all the way from Vancouver Island to Newfoundland and from the southernmost point of Canada all the way to the Northwest Territories.
Because Canada is so vast, many tornadoes touch down in areas with no witnesses, so the numbers have been underestimated.
Why do we care about this? If we want to really know the true occurrence of tornadoes in Canada, we need to find them and develop better models for that. So it's actually important, especially as the population grows and we spread out, what is the true level of risk?
They're also trying to figure out the risk to structures. Using a wind tunnel at the Wind Engineering, Energy and Environment Dome, known as WINDY, engineers can assess how buildings will handle extreme winds. The massive facility is filled with almost floor-to-ceiling fans that can simulate a variety of different wind systems. We wanted to see firsthand how it worked, so we met up with Guillerma Bitsuamlak, the director of WINDY. How does a tornado actually affect a building?
When wind interacts with any building, primarily it produces suction, except in the face where the wind hits it, then it produces pressure. When the wind increases, the pressure reduces, So these are high velocity events and the pressure drops significantly, way below the atmospheric pressure. That's why the roof flies.
Guillerma gives us a demonstration using a residential neighborhood.
But the study building is installed with this kind of pressure taps, During the test, basically, we measure the pressure on all these dot points.
Here, the team studies the aerodynamic forces that develop during different wind systems so that buildings can be designed to be stronger. This facility gets requests for testing from around the world. The sensors measure the pressure experienced by a building during a severe windstorm. After repeat testing, the results go into a database.
It is those type of information that are used then to establish building code and standards.
And developers to take that information and use it to build wiser buildings.
Yes, wiser and more tornado-resilient buildings.
The resilience of buildings, especially our homes, could become critically important as the effects of climate change worsen. So far, updates to Canadian building codes to tackle global warming have mostly been focused on energy efficiency. Standards geared at changing weather patterns are based on historic records, although codes are continuously under review.
The weather's changing, so designing for the past 50 years prepares us for the past 50 years. It doesn't prepare us for the next 50 years.
Keith Porter is the chief engineer of the Institute for Catastrophic Loss Reduction, an independent, not-for-profit research center founded by the insurance industry and also affiliated with Western University. He says many new homes today are not built for extreme wind conditions.
We collect all this anemometer data, and then we pretend that there are no tornadoes, at least as far as the building code goes. We have known that we could design for tornadoes and just chose not to.
This became abundantly clear after a violent tornado hit Barrie, Ontario in 2021.
Oh my God, a tornado just hit our house. Adam, the roof is gone.
Natalie Harris and her son Adam took cover in the basement of her ex-partner's home. When she emerged, pink insulation was falling from the sky.
Looked up and saw the roof was gone. And it was raining into the house. And there was other people's stuff in the front hall. I think I said, oh my God, multiple times.
Oh my God! Our house is gone!
I have goosebumps even right now thinking about it.
The twister, which topped out at 210 kilometers an hour, ripped through this neighborhood, peeling roofs off homes and sending shingles flying.
No one was killed there, and I always think that that's a miracle. When you have roofs coming off houses, flying through the air, that debris is really dangerous.
Gregory was on the ground within hours to survey the damage.
When you've been to a few of these events, you see repetitive patterns on building performance. One of the weakest links on our houses is how the roof is fastened to the walls. And so often in these events, the whole roof comes off and you're just left there with walls. Top of the wall are these 2x4s.
Gregory says a solution that could minimize this problem is installing hurricane straps or clips. The small bracket made of galvanized steel is used to strengthen the connection between the roof and the wall, helping the roof stay attached during aggressive winds.
This technology has been around for a long time. It's been established. We know it works. It's just not common here.
I had no clue. No clue. I had no idea. I'm like, what do you mean a hurricane strap?
After the storm, Natalie, who was a city councillor at the time, decided to learn more about building codes. Since Barrie had been devastated by a tornado before in 1985, she was surprised by the lack of wind resilience guidelines in place.
How are houses after the 80s not being built by the standard that we should have because we get these winds? And it's not the city that really mandates that, it's the province. So immediately I started working to really try to get to the bottom of why that wasn't happening in Barrie and how we can change it.
So Natalie backed a proposal to change Ontario building codes to have better extreme wind measures, including hurricane straps. She's out of politics now, but continues to advocate for them.
We know that climate change is just ravaging the world right now. This is not a if, it will be when will this happen again. So let's make sure we're taking all the steps properly, but we're still waiting for progress. Politics is slow.
Hurricane straps aren't mandatory in Canada. The National Building Code requires each roof-to-wall connection to be fastened by 3 nails, about 3 inches long, called toenails.
The code doesn't require it. A lot of premium builders will use it, but it's not required, so it doesn't get done.
Part of the argument against adding hurricane straps to the code is cost. Experts say some in the building industry feel the extra expense is not justified. The cost of installing hurricane straps on a house can vary depending on the size of the roof and the cost of labor. The bracket itself is a few dollars.
It's coming out of the pockets of the people who are making the decision about the building code. And until you can show them we really, really need to, they will resist change.
One possible solution Keith suggests is to spread the financial burden among governments, builders, owners, and insurance companies. For example, municipalities could give developers breaks on fees, or insurance companies could give discounts to homeowners who have installed hurricane straps.
We create these incentives in such a way that it becomes less expensive to build new buildings, to be resilient. So there are ways to do that.
We asked the Canadian Home Builders Association, a residential construction industry group with over 8,500 companies, if hurricane straps should be included into the code. The association replied, "Hurricane straps alone are not a silver bullet. The whole house needs to be considered. You can't simply add hurricane straps without assessing the impacts on the rest of the structure. Or you could have failures in other areas."
I think we should be putting this in the code, and I think we should be thinking about resilience measures in general. Houses are with us for a long time, and we want them to be with us for a long time.
Almost all the ceilings up there. It's looking good.
Back in Uxbridge, the Second Wedge Brewing Company is rebuilding. On the day we met up with Rob Gerard and his wife and co-founder, Joanne Richter, they were on site admiring the progress.
We've gone through all the emotions, I guess, in the last year. When we finally started to rebuild, it started to feel better.
They decided not to shut down, but rather build back better.
We're just trying to rebuild our business and make it a little better and safer.
And that includes hurricane straps. Rob and Joanne are planning to reopen the business on the long weekend in May, the one-year anniversary of the tornado. While construction won't be done by then, the two will put up a tent in the garden, hoping to see some familiar faces and have some laughs once again.
I miss the customers. We have a really good bond with people of the community, and to get back to normal, it would be just such a dream.